Hey, hey, hey. It's Selway Techno Saturday, as if you didn't know already. What's up, everybody? Who was first? Who was first today? Ben Colts was first. Welcome. Asatenko, Hector, E, Zaraga. Hey, what's up? What a name. New Drexian is in the house. TK Anderson. Thomas from 343 Labs is keeping an eye on things, keeping us in our place. Making sure we don't go off the rails. What's up, Josh Holiday? Happy Saturday. Capers Jr. Hey, hey. The Luminous Cloud. Simple Sam. We got some regulars in here, as usual. William Mind Readers. Hello, everybody. Peter Paws is back. And Girl. Girl is here. It just says Girl. Hathor. Will Joseph, what's up? Eatsy. Jens Schautauer, what's up? Am I missing anybody? Silver Knobs is back. Greetings from Poland. I think we're almost down the list. Trovarsi, Live Society, happy Saturday. Let's get right into it. I'm here. We're back. It's Saturday. We like techno. We're all hanging out together today to celebrate our love for techno. This is the Church of Techno, even though it's a Saturday. What has gotten into my brain today? I was just speaking to my guest who's about to join me and saying, the older I get, the sillier I get. And that, I think that's what's happening. So, yeah, here we are on 343 TV, as we are every week. You know what we do. We are a music production school in New York and Berlin and online. We are 343 Labs in person and online. We are 343 Studio online. It's a subscription program where you can come in and pay monthly and have access to, well, actually, there's a free tier where you get a bunch of access to videos and workshops and content. And then there's a paid tier where you get real-time access. You can do feedback, mentorship. There's the Ableton Dojo that Abe is running, which I want to check out one of these days. I want to be in the dojo with Abe. And we've got our streams, right? We've got Tetro generally on Tuesdays, and he does the sample challenges, and then Abe is Fridays, and I'm today. And we are making plans, actually. We're going to, hopefully, sooner than later, start providing a little bit more content here on YouTube and some more live events and things like that. So we'll keep you posted as to those eventualities. And, of course, if you want to be updated regularly, make sure you've subscribed here. Check out all the information about our courses on our website. The links are down below, both for New York and Berlin and online. And we have our Discord server, which features prominently today. If you haven't joined our Discord, now it would be a good time. So we're doing feedback today, right? I've done an electro feedback session, and now I'm finally doing a techno feedback session. And we're going to keep those rotating every couple of months or so. We'll do something like that. And I'll have different guests coming in. And the place to submit your work for feedback is in the Selway feedback channel on the 343 Discord. So if you want to take part, that's where you go. And that's where we'll, I'll notify you guys here on the stream, but also if you're on the Discord, you'll see, you'll get info about when we do these events and things like that. So you can join the community and take part in what we like to do. Enough business. Let's bring on the man himself. Becoming a good friend, I would say. We've met in person once, and we've hung out now a few times online. And he's a streamer himself. He's a great music producer and an educator. And I'm really happy to have him on the stream, helping me out, checking out your tracks and giving feedback today. Welcome, everybody. It's Lag. What's up, Lag? Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. Thank you for having me here. Thank you for calling me your friend. That tickles my childhood,
tickles your fancy.
Fancies.
We're already off to a rip-roaring start. I think we get along pretty well. That's what I'm saying.
Yes. I agree. And I love the fact that you, like, as soon as this goes on, you start this thing that I never could do on Twitch, which is be friendly. But usually I turn on my software, I start making music, and then if someone asks me something, I'm gonna say yes or no. But I'm learning from the master. So this is interesting to watch the way that you engage and the way that people respond, and you have a very responsive and nice community here. So I'm happy to be here.
I gotta control myself. Breathe. I talked about it. I was saying my voice
that before stream.
Voice is a little, I had a cold this week.
You have to deliver
it, and my voice is a little. You can hear it, right? And I was saying to Milos before, like if I get emotional, like it sounds like my voice is breaking, like right now. It sounds really legit. So if we could just sort of play it off, but now we just ruined it. I'm sorry.
No, like in 30 minutes when everyone forgets,
so what are
we have to
today?
We have to bring it back. We're listening to some music that people send in, and then trying to give advice without necessarily imposing our taste and way of doing things, as to not to influence people to be us rather than themselves. So we're carefully evaluating things and being very strategic and some word about how to give feedback.
Right. That is what we're doing.
Right.
That's what you're doing. What I'm going to do, and I'm just kidding. That is exactly what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And generally, like in the classroom, when we do student feedback, we like to do kind of first talk about the positives, right? What's working? What's good about this? And it's not necessarily like, even if it's a style you're not into or a flavor that's not your own, but so like and I'll challenge students in the classroom too to like listen to other people's music and be positive and find what's good about it first, right? And so that's usually generally the thing. First, you point out what's working, and then you say not what you don't like, not what's bad, but what could improve? What could you work more on? What would make it even better, right? I think that balance, I think, is the right way to approach it.
Sure. This is exactly what I'm talking about. I'm learning from you because my reasoning is, why talk about the good stuff? Because we're just not gonna. We're just wasting time.
Just go straight to like the cutthroat, harsh.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. There's always so much music to go through, and I don't want to leave anyone hanging. So I'm just like, no, you can fix this, and this. Great track, but this, and this. Let's focus on this, and then send more stuff next week. So, but yeah, you're probably right. This is the way to do it.
I'm not saying my way is better. That's just the way we do it around here. So
No. It absolutely makes sense. It's literally, yeah. It's just experience, and you're a better man than I am. I already can see that.
No comment, but thank you, I guess. I wouldn't say that. I mean, gosh, self-depreciation. I'm speechless now. Let's move over to the other screen, and you can see here, this is our Discord. This is the Selway feedback channel, and this is where everybody has submitted their work. I didn't give you guys a lot of warning. I think it was about a week or so, and there's a good number of tracks here. As I scroll down, you can see everybody's posting their SoundCloud links. I just saw that there were maybe a couple more posts. I hope we're not missing anybody. Yeah, it looks like there's some last minute stuff. So I just want to say also to everybody, we'll try to get through as many of these as we can today. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully we could, if we really go quick and we're efficient and we don't, hey, cat. If we're efficient and we don't get too distracted like I am right now, then, we'll see if we can get through everybody. But if we don't get to you, don't worry, come back to the Discord channel and we'll post comments there, even if we don't get to you live here on the stream. So that said, let's have a listen to the first submission here from Vile. From Vile, the Dark Overlord of Techno. Oh my God. Look at that.
Vile, like okay. I thought like a Camlab Vile.
Oh no, yeah. I mean, am I getting this right? So this track is called Transition. So this is Selway Trance Saturdays, and this is Transition. some air is leaking.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, is that like a stream noise? But yeah,
Interesting.
part of the track.
It's like atmosphere / percussion because it cuts out. It does a little syncopation.
Mm.
I think we'll talk a little bit while we listen. That helps save time.
Sure.
And we can point out things, but still try to keep the structure. Like maybe in the initial listen, and we won't be judgmental one way or the other. We'll just acknowledge what's happening. Let us know if the volume is okay, if we need to turn it down or anything. How's the level for you, Lag?
Maybe a little bit too high for me to hear you. Just a tad too high. There we go.
Okay. I'm gonna stare into the face of the vile overlord as we listen to this epic. Makes me want to close my eyes. Right, for sake of time, I'm going to skip into the break. Floaty. Here comes the drama. All right, we'll let it come back in. We'll see how it comes back in, how it drops. I won't skip right away. I'm ruining the vibe by talking.
No, it's beautiful. I think your voice should be sampled and put into the break. Just a little bit of delay.
I've been sampled on a trance tune before. Serious.
Really? Like your music or your vocal?
Vocal. That was unexpected.
That was very unexpected.
Huh, okay. I'm gonna skip in a little bit. Alright. We gotta move fast. We're gonna get through everybody. I'd love to listen through them beginning to the end. If we were doing like 2 or 3 hours, we could do that, but alright, let's stop there. Good start, right? Interesting. I'm gonna let my guest begin. Right. So remember, we're starting with what's working, what's positive, and then we're gonna switch
what's working,
to
what's positive.
And then what could be worked on.
I really like the pads work, the melody works, and the reason why it works is because the pads are very lush and constant. They're sort of spread out, and then when the melody comes in the break, it's choppy and it's more kind of in your face and well defined. So there's a contrast between these two, which speaks well and works well. Mm-hmm. Also, the kick choice and the hi-hat choice actually works quite well. I was expecting something else, but I was pleasantly surprised by this. So I only have 3 suggestions. One suggestion would be try this, and this is something that I tell everyone, and just since we're gonna do a bunch of these, I'm just gonna say it this time and maybe only 3 to 5 more times. Test your tracks in the club. So by this, I don't
because
mean
we all have that opportunity.
Well, I'm not talking about being booked and then going to play somewhere. I'm talking about the stuff that I have been doing even before I had a career, which is most of people will have either a club or a bar that has a decent sound system, and you can call them up. You can ask them if you can come by when there's not too many people around, like before the night opens or something like this, and just test out a few tracks. They will usually say yes. I've actually never had anyone tell me no. They might say not today, but tomorrow, sure.
You don't live in New York City.
I don't.
It might not be so easy here from experience, but yeah, it's good advice.
I have tested it on a lot of like bar sound systems, and the thing is, it's not only about like being a great sound system, great acoustics or whatever. It's about hearing your track very, very loud.
Yeah.
So to get back to the point, if you play this track very loud on a sound system that can carry out the volume, the power, then you will have a better idea whether or not you are okay with your break being so long, with so little bass, because sometimes it can take out a lot of the energy from the set. Sometimes you will be fine with it, and sometimes you'll go like, okay, this was too abrupt of a cut, and too much of the energy just evaporated in these 40 seconds. It sounds great when you're sitting at home and listening to it, because you're listening to the track as a song, as a storytelling thing, but as a tool in the club, it might be misfiring.
Okay.
So try it in the club if you can, or at least try it if you have a nice car or your friend has a nice car that has a nice sound system. Play it loud in the car. That's the closest thing you can get to a club. And then evaluate whether or not it works. Second thing, the noise in the beginning. I very much like the idea. I think there could be a bit more work to be done on the execution, meaning some effect to make it a little bit more interesting, wobbly, like a tape drift or wow or flutter thing, just because it's only the kick and the noise at the beginning, so just giving it a little bit more
ducking,
life.
Even a little ducking with the kick would help.
Even
and it's
a
probably
little
a
ducking.
little loud.
Yep.
I would probably turn it down. And actually, I'm going to cut you off there because
sure.
Just we've got to move quickly. So those are really good comments, and I agree. I like the atmospheric elements in here. I like the bright, simple melody lead contrasting with the atmospheric, lush chords. I like it's trancey, but it doesn't have like a typical trance bass in it. It's like kind of it's trancey techno as opposed to trance, right? And I can get down with that. That said, I feel like let's switch to the constructive, right? I think you can improve the low end groove a little bit. It's a nice deep thump on the kick, but I wouldn't mind like something where a bass line would be. So some kind of other low end energy rhythm kind of thing that's a little more pushing forward rather than just like, it's more kind of reverby, right? It's sort of whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. So something that has more of a rhythmic pulse in between the kicks that's kind of taking the place of a bass line maybe. And then everything you just said about the structure of it, I think the intro with the noise in the beginning is a little long, and definitely the way the noise comes in and interacts with the other sounds could be improved. And then the break and drop. Okay, anticlimax is hard to pull off, and I felt like, all right, it's nice where it's big, and then the kick drum comes in. I almost wanted to wait a little longer before that kick drum comes back in, or make this part shorter, and then you do this other little mini break, right? And this is a nice little moment, and then these dissonant chords come in, which is cool. It's so atmospheric and cinematic, but it's not enough contrast with what came before it. I would take everything out except for the bass and the kick, and wait a breath. Let it just be strong, tough, warehousey bass and kick, and then sneak in the trippy, spooky, weird vibe of the other chord, right? That will work better. It'll be more dramatic than if you go you're going from all pads to pads again. Give it a break before the pads come back, and then you bring the energy back up. So anyway, this is a really good start. Let's move along to the next one. Thanks very much, Vile. And all right, so we've got TK Anderson SV1000. Let's check this one out. How's the level on that? Can you bring it up a little bit?
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay, cool. Okie dokie. I almost said okie dokie. I swear. It was not a Freudian slip.
It's a techno stream.
Just as a callback to the previous one, the rumble in this one is more like what I was thinking of. It's got that faster pulse in between the kicks. That's kind of what I was thinking. So take a note.
There's also more groove. I'm obsessed. I know that this is a personal preference, but I'm very, very obsessed with things being groovy.
Me too.
I have good friends who are very much against that. Like, for example, Scalameria. He's very, very particular about his stuff being very quantized. So, and his stuff works. So it's very much a matter of taste.
Well, in that case, when all of your elements are perfectly tight and quantized, the groove comes completely from the shape of the sounds, from the articulation of the sounds.
Yeah. So this one is a bit more.
It's got that wiggle.
Wiggle, yep.
When I do this, Max Wild calls it the Selway sway.
Perfect.
So, didn't I say before, if we listen to really dark, serious techno, we're not allowed to smile?
I apologize, and I take that smile back. So, I don't know if another synth is going to come in here, but if it doesn't, I would really like to hear this synth be pushed more to the front. Like more lower mids in this main synth.
Remember,
so that it's in the front of it. It's a great synth. I want more of it.
Aha, good positive. Good way to flip it around. I love it. Aha. This one's moving right along. Like,
a very nice, and this is something that a lot of people who send me tracks have an issue with, which is they neglect to put reverb on.
Wait, hold that thought. It's about to drop.
Yep.
Okay, keep going.
So people neglect to put reverb on their elements, which are completely synthetic. So, for example, like the kick drum, they will keep it super dry. And sometimes it sounds really, really strange because we're kind of used to stuff being in space, and it's very alien to our ears that things are dry. But I can hear the reverb on this kick is really, really well filtered, like placed and filtered. Okay, here we get a
new sound.
Another synth. Yeah.
But yeah, this is a solid example of, like, you know, it's straight ahead, it's tracky, it's only a couple of elements, it's got good energy, it's consistent. And it's kind of playing by the numbers too. Like, the structure of this is a structure that always works. Nothing wrong with following those formulas, because every track, even though it might be similar in style or in structure to another one, still has the flavor of the person who made it.
Yes.
It's all in the details.
Yeah.
The human elements. Give us both the same studio and we'll make totally different stuff. All right, I'm gonna drop in here. Last break. I mean, we've already heard this. I think it's pretty similar to what happened before. Yep. So
yeah,
great. So we already started with some of our positive comments there. Any more to add in terms of what's working?
Everything is in its right place. The mix down is pretty good. I like the elements. Literally the only two comments. The first I've already said. I'd like to. The kick is the foundation. It's upon which everything else is built, but that doesn't have to mean that it's in front of everything. It's the foundation. You don't really see it. The beautiful part of it is whatever is the most musical thing about your track. So in this case, that would be the synth, and I would like to hear more of the synth in my face. And then the second comment would be just maybe add some accents, meaning, so for example, if there's like after the break, when everything kicks in, a short burst of white noise, or
like
filtered
candy,
white noise,
a little bit of transitional elements.
Just because it's hypnotic, and through being hypnotic, it becomes to a certain point predictable. So having these occasional things that distract you extend the life of this hypnoticness without it being like, okay, I know what's coming next. So because you're always listening for when is the next ear candy gonna come in. So literally just a few places, and 3 to 5 places, and that's it.
I think you're right. And that's also a stylistic choice. There's definitely types of techno that are really kind of hypnotic and they don't have too many bells and whistles and things coming in and out. But that's where the subtlety matters the most. So like, I would like, we were saying about having a little bit more synth, and that could be a little louder. It could be how it's mixed, but it also could be how you're playing with the sound. So like a little tweaking, a little, not, and I don't mean like acid where it's like up and down and crazy all the time, but like subtle, like a little more intense, a little less intense, a little more resonant, a little more thick, a little more effect, a little less effect, like having the sound, because that pattern, that the hypnotic pattern is good. The melody of it is good. It's hypnotic and it's working with this style of techno, but like a little more development of the sound and like playing with the synth parameters or adding effects to it and having the sound evolve. And it doesn't have to be so all over the place crazy, like up and down and all around. Subtle, like growing a little bit. And, even if you just make it slightly brighter, just automating the filter over 1632 bars, and then the kick drops out. And then when the kick drum comes back in, you drop the filter down again. Just a little bit. That tiny one little thing will help it feel like it's doing more and help build the tension. So
I have to say one more thing, which is this particular track is very gritty in a way that is quite pleasing to the ear. But the really nice thing about it is that it's gritty consistently. So whatever you, Anderson, whatever you did to make it consistent, so that I hear the same grit in the highs as I do in the lows, and in the synth.
Has a sound.
Yes, that's very, very good, and it's also one of the things that most people who've sent me music for feedback have struggled with a lot, and I talk about this a lot. So this is a good example of like a consistent sound which is not too clean and everything has the same character, and which unifies everything into a very very coherent group of sounds. So
cool.
Great job on this one. This is I would say that this is even releasable as it is.
Right. So I gotta say right now, it's a halfway through, and I'm not gonna take a long pause here. Usually I do a little break and we talk to the chat. I'm going to acknowledge that this is 343 Labs. You're watching Selway's Techno Saturday. My guest here is Lag, and we're having a lot of fun listening to your submissions. And hey to everybody in the chat. Haven't been interacting with you as much today. We're really focusing on our conversation and listening to the music, and I also appreciate your comments as we go along. I'm kind of keeping an eye on it, and you guys are saying some good stuff as well. So thank you for that. And also, we're halfway through, and we've gone through 2 tracks, and we've got too many more to fit in 30 minutes. We have to speed it up. I think I can already say we're going to go a little bit past 2 o'clock today. So let's move on to the next one. Here we have Bass Fakira, Approaching Hell Doors. And I think starting now, we're going to have to move along a little further and keep our comments a little more concise.
Sure.
Take a deep breath. And as you exhale, relax into this exhalation. Take one more deep breath. And as you exhale, relax even more into this exhalation.
Oops, sorry guys. My mixer. Don't double click on your software mixer lag.
I will not.
Right. I think one thing we can do to speed things up is do a little more skipping through. So we got our intro here. Let's see where we go. Acid building up. There's already a lot of layers going on in the first minute, right? Snare drum roll. Dramatic break. I assume we're going to hear the voice telling us what to do again.
And as you exhale, relax completely into this one.
Okay, I'm going to skip in.
By the way, this 303 that pops in like the whoa whoa, it's a good example of what I mentioned, like synthetic sounds not having reverb.
Got it.
It's exactly great place, great tone.
All right, let's jump in a little bit again. We'll let the drop happen, and then I think this is a lot of snare drums here. Yep, and then
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Okay, I know we skipped through that real fast, but I realized we were just being a little too long-winded, so we're going to move faster and skip through a little bit. But I'll start off this time.
Yes.
Interesting ideas. Like the parts musically are working together, like melodically, harmonically. Definitely some sophisticated arrangement happening, right? With the interweaving things coming in and out. The vocals sound, I mean, I don't know for sure, but they sound like they might be original. You know, like this, maybe this guy recorded them himself. I'm not sure, but if so, points for originality. And you know, it's I've heard tracks before that have this kind of voice telling you what to do and relax, and it's definitely like a thing. So it's effective in that way. And it fits sort of the style, like mixing this vibe with the acid and everything. And it's definitely a contrast. The last track was very cold and underground and very like techno, right? This one's a little, you know, riding those lines, right? It's like a little techno, a little acid, a little trance, a little progressive. It's accessible, right? Because of the vocals. It has commercial appeal in that way. I think the biggest thing this has against it, the one thing I would concentrate on the most is the mix. There's no bass. The low end is not there. It's all mids and highs, and there's, as Lag mentioned, there's some sounds that are like too dry, and like this whole thing needs a more well-balanced mix. If this was like if this had the right balance of lows and mids and highs, and it was polished like that the right way, this would be a totally like, you know, commercial dance record that would do well with certain DJs, I think. So it's really like, that's, you know, I think production-wise you're on point. Mixing-wise is where you want to focus your energy.
Yeah, I agree with all that has been said. My only, and this is again a personal taste thing, I think there's if the track has equal parts build up and beef, it feels to me like I don't get enough. I mean, I know that the big build up and the drop is the most satisfactory thing you can get, but if there's more of not having a kick and not knowing what to do, than there is of actual dance music,
Right.
that sort of doesn't align with how I personally see
Sure.
music. But then again, you're absolutely right about wider appeal, and then we delve into whether or not this leans into more of an EDM nightclub commercial,
It's like
get your drinks
this
kind
could
of thing.
be.
Or
I would say this is more like, ravey festival kind of music. Like it's, but it's still on the techno side of things. It's still on the. It's not commercial EDM. It's more clubby in a way. It's more techno house, progressive world.
Yeah, sure.
Anyway, so we definitely have to keep
Sound-wise,
pushing forward. Yeah.
Sound-wise, it's definitely more techno than
And
it's
and
not
what your
EDM
advice
at all.
before, where you were talking about play your track and in the environment that you want, in a club or in whatever, and how you react to it, how other people react to it, that will teach you. Oh, my break's too long. Oh, my break's too short. Oh, when the bass came in, it wasn't right. Like playing it in that context it'll be like, it's a gauntlet, right? It's a big challenge, and it's a big teacher to do that. Let's move on to the next one. This is Garrica Rod. Got your number. Could not be more different than the last thing we listened to. This one's short. That's good. Making me make strange faces. All right, I'm going to jump in a little bit. This person's having fun. We know that.
Yeah.
This is fun. It's ridiculous in a good, redonkulous in a good way. Like, it's reminding me of some things I've heard before. What was that?
I like that. Yeah.
Random boom. Like,
Yeah. I like that a lot.
some crazy. Okay. Some spacey sounds in there. That's cool. Right, this is just mad. I feel like we have to let it end. Got your number. Oh man. I love it. I love that in contrast. So much fun. Go ahead and start. And remember, keep it short.
Yes. I like the weirdness of it very much. I like that it sounds like you. It doesn't sound like this is
Not me, you
same
mean
as
the guy. Yeah.
yeah, the person we're
Jerica.
talking to. So I like that. I think there's more room for you to be you. So, for example, the thing that I mentioned earlier, sounds not having reverb. This is very dry. The kick is very dry and stuff like this. But you can. It's not only about putting a reverb. It's about making it sound like your reverb. Like I can recognize a Nicolas Jarre reverb now. Like in the past 5 years, it's just his reverb, and I can tell. So same with Clark.
Signature reverb. That's a new one for me.
Yeah, I mean it's the way to process things that's very interesting. But anyway, I would like to hear a bit more groove from this, because all of the groove in this one comes from the kick being slightly shuffled. Yeah, I would like to hear, like, for example, like some offbeat movement in the hi-hat and stuff like this.
You know what would be an easy way to do that? I'm just going to cut in.
Sure.
Break beats and or another kick drum. Because there was a point here where I thought, oh, it's going to turn into like Gabber or Happy Hardcore or something. There was a little where it stopped and the vocal came back in, and I thought this is the perfect place to turn into like a Lenny D thing. Bang, 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 right? Or at that point, just like heavy breaks to contrast. Because the drum machine sounds they're cool, you know, but it's kind of light, right? I feel like you could add another layer of power on top of this, and then contrast between the sections that are a little more tight, where you're playing around with the sounds, and then sections which are heavy that have big breaks, big kick drum, or both, right?
Yeah, and there's just one more thing from what I would suggest, which is the thing at the end, the pad that comes in, and then there's suddenly a ton of reverb on the vocal. It works as a song. It doesn't work as a tool. And this is always a distinction that I ask people to make when they're making track. It's entirely your choice what you want to make. But if you're making something that is supposed to tell a story, then you are reducing the utility of the track as tool that a DJ will be using. So if you have completely different stuff coming in at the end of the track, it might at a point where someone might be like fading out, you might be doing stuff against what you want to do.
I think you're right, but also this style of track isn't something that's going to be layered over for a long time. This is just 3 minutes. And
that's true.
This I usually hear people who play crazier stuff, they do less blending and more cutting. So they would probably like play for 3 minutes and then cut in the next song, right? All right, let's move along. We got Josh Holiday, Pieces on the Ground, A major. This is an artist from a label called The Seed, it looks like. I know this label. Another nice turn in a different direction, style-wise, huh?
I already really like the synths in this one, in the mood.
Nice warm mix. Like it's dark, but you still hear high details.
Very nice. Welcome, Jessica.
It's interesting. I'm not sure if I were doing music theory, I would be wondering what key this is in. It's nice that with techno sometimes you just don't care about what theory tells you. How's the level on this? Should we turn it up a little bit?
Good for me.
We're gonna get caught up in listening to this whole thing. We've got to skip. I'm sorry. It's this one sucks you in. It's got all these little smooth evolutions. But let's jump around a little bit. A little more drums, okay.
I like that this is pulled back. The atmospheres are gone.
Right.
So have a bit more.
It opens up that way, like it's.
Yep.
And that's the thing, when you have spooky pads or chill atmospheric things or whatever, when you put them in, it instantly gets dark and spacey. And then when you pull them out, it gets more lively again. It's a really subtle thing.
Everything that's dominant in a track, if you take it out, you actually get an increase of energy. And this is something that a lot of people struggle with. They keep adding more and more and are afraid to take something out because they think, oh no, then I lose. But the thing is...
Listen right now, listen. That's nice, right?
Yeah.
This is so After Hours. This is After Hours music, right? And that's a surprise. You hear the melody and the bass? Kind of. All right, this is.
This is something I would hear from like a fabric mix in 2008.
And that's a good thing.
That's a good thing.
All right, I'm gonna skip in a little bit more. So we've been talking a lot about what's good about this track, and we're just now gonna jump straight to quickly one thing. We're gonna each say one thing that we would improve. Go.
I have nothing.
Really? Okay, you really like it. You think it's good. You think it's done.
I really like it. My only
there is one
suggestion would be no. This is not about changing things. It's again, try and test it somewhere where it's loud, because there's a lot of stuff happening in the stereo field, like going left and right. And whilst this is amazing to listen to on headphones and at home, this is ultimately club music, and a lot of that is lost when you reach that level of like this being played in a club where you don't have the headphones, which are completely left and right, but you have two speakers which are like just in front of you. And if what you should do is you should play it somewhere loud where you can judge whether or not
same as before. Totally.
How much of what you have done here in a stereo field is adding to the greatness of this track, and does it still hold up when you play it loud? That's
Got it. Cool.
It's great. Great track.
My comment was I really like this other bass line that comes in. I didn't even, if it was there in the beginning, I didn't even notice it.
It was, yeah.
But I didn't even notice it until here. There. Do you hear it? Da 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 da.
Yeah.
I want that more. Ba-na-na-na. Like that coming out more. And you might have to, there's some other low frequency elements that it's battling with. So it could be partially just the mix. But like that more melodic bass thing, I feel like could be more forward in the mix. And then some of the other lows could be scooped out a little bit to make space for it. So it's more balanced, because it's really nice. And you could think about one section using less of it and another section using more of it. And that's part of the evolution. And I think you are already doing that. So maybe like fixing the mix a little bit for those low end elements will help it be better, work better the way you intended. All right, next, got to keep pushing forward. All right, so it looks like this is someone from Tetro's community. This is a Beatober challenge, and I don't know who this is. User 430677665.
Might be Aphex Twin.
It might be Aphex Twin, but let's see if it sounds like Aphex Twin.
This is Aphex. I can just first 5 seconds.
Is someone knocking on the door?
I hope this is the kick. I genuinely do.
All right. We're in a different genre, maybe. I mean, I'm okay with that.
Me too.
I mean, it's Techno Saturday, but like we got to be open-minded. And this might be someone who's not usually making techno, inspired to make something more techno-y. That's what I'm guessing here. It's got like a little bit of a double time, half time. Like you can kind of count it like that.
I really love this synth. I really love the synth that comes in. This thing.
Right?
Yeah. I desperately wish there was more of this in the mix.
Right. I think we can already switch over to the. All right. So positives, good groove, interesting, different, nice melodic elements. I like the sound that's being used. The mix is way off. Too much of that crazy kick and not enough of anything else. Like more mids, more highs. Control that kick. Then it's gonna come. Your idea is gonna come across better. So, and this is a simple beat. It's only a couple minutes long, maybe 2 or 3 minutes long. Maybe this is intended for someone to perform over, or it could be just standalone mood music, right? It's not giving me a techno vibe, but we like it. We like it. I think it's cool, and I think work on your mix. That's my 2 cents. What do you say? Last chance.
I would like to see some more groove from this. Just
Sure,
having
it is a little
in individual elements much later or earlier.
Right. It's a little
like
stiff
off the grid.
Yeah, a little off the grid. Even like emphasize something. Like
Yes,
all we're
yes.
getting is that kick. Now it would have a different groove if the kick was backwards supposed to be and the other percussion was more forward. It would have a different
Yep.
groove. But even if it had like a
agreed.
snare, da 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 bap, da 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 bap, that would have more groove. Just emphasizing that.
Yep.
All right, next. That was fast. Thank you. Perfect Worlds by Pulsar. I'm guessing that's Pulsar with no A.
Nice.
Good start right away. Right into the
Yeah.
energy. Confident. Good mix.
Also great for mixing. You immediately know what you're gonna get. You're not gonna be surprised by the melody at like minute 2.5.
Evolution already. Gonna call and response between these two elements. All right, let's jump in a little bit. Open hi-hat coming in, works fine. A little more noisy percussion in the background. I like the boom. It's like timpani. Almost a little orchestral sounding. All right, here's our break, our first break. Ride cymbals. You can't go wrong with 909 ride cymbals in techno, right?
Well,
you can, but
both hi-hats are very good, like musically, but I would like to see them have a little bit more saturation, just to be more consistent with everything else.
sure. Okay, I feel like, all right, I think for sake of time, my whole thing of doing positive first and then constructive criticism, it's taking too long. We're going to have to just start overlapping.
So-
That's what we've been doing.
Exactly. So this is what I've been saying.
Right. Why you? All right. What I'm going to say is this needs something different. I would lose the pads in this part and put in a new element. All right,
Yep.
there's a break.
Or just
This
a
is
pullback.
nice. The new pads. Great. Nice atmosphere. All right, I gotta jump. Sorry, we started out so chill, and now we're like, ah. I like the vibe of this. There's like kind of a Detroity Kenny Larkin kind of late '90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, exactly.
Vibe that I like. I'm gonna jump straight to the one thing I think it needs the most, besides more contrast between the sections, is bass line. It sounds like it needs like a low end melodic element or some kind of low end element other than the kick.
That was my thought exactly, and what I had an even more particular thing in mind. It feels like a lot of it could do with occasional stabs of like filter opening bass.
Yeah, sure.
Like a long just opening thing, and then it goes away, and then it comes back. Because
It doesn't have to be
room-
looping the whole time.
Yeah. It has because the track it's already got a nice thing, like a nice foundation. It needs something to break it up, and also there's a lot of room for nice big bass to just overtake everything every now and again.
Yeah, I agree entirely. Wow. So normally at this time, at almost 2, I'd be winding it down and wrapping it up. And what I want to say is let's just pause for a very short moment here and say hey to the chat. Thank you, everybody, for chiming in and giving your constructive criticism and comments and positive comments as well to each other. That's really important. Like that's, you're a part of a community and you're getting it. And I really appreciate that. So I want to remind everybody that this kind of interaction can continue constantly all the time on our Discord server. And then if you want to kind of step it up and really make it a bit more of an investment, we've got our 343 studio. You could sign up for the free tier and get all sorts of content. But then you can also, if you like what we're doing today, if you join 343 studio as a paid member, you could occasionally schedule like 15 minutes with me or Abe Duque or anyone other of our great instructors to do what we're doing right now, and just for you, right? So we have that option, and we have the Ableton Dojo and things like that, right? And it's less of an investment than a whole big expensive 12-week course or something like that. So 343 Studios, I feel like it's a good transition. It's a good step into the 343 Labs world. So think about it. The information's all down there in the description. And I would be remiss if I don't say, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And I don't want to beg you for likes. You don't have to like us. You don't have to love me. But if you haven't clicked the thumbs up, why not? It would cost you nothing. All right, so that's the business portion. That's the pause. Now, let me ask my guest here, how do you feel about another approximately 30 minutes? Can we swing that?
I'm very much up for it.
Okay, great. Because we're about the halfway point of the submissions, not counting there were one or two that were posted just literally while we were on air. So we're not going to go for those. I'm only going to go for the ones that I have tabs open. And
sure.
Let's dive right back in. Let's see who is next. We have Automatons by Tone Fabric. That doesn't sound like techno at all. Let's see. Oh, it's techno.
It's very techno. This is the most techno.
It's so techno. It's a little loud. Let's turn that down. Some of these tracks are kind of maximized and some of them aren't. So they're kind of... How are we doing for levels? Is that good?
It's perfect for me. I don't know about chat. I love the movement.
I haven't seen any
stuff.
Complaints. Yeah, this is another track that just starts and gets into it right away. I gotta stop waving my hands around. It's like weird cutting off on your face there. There's an example of what you're kind of talking about, like a weird bass thing that comes in and out every now and then.
Yep.
And it's a little different each time. This is trippy. I like trippy. It's got this kind of melty vibe. I like the effects on the percussion, the zappy percussion.
Man, I was just gonna say the reverb on this is gorgeous.
Very nice reverb. The vocal sample was almost funny.
SoundCloud uploads cut out the DJ extras. Never do that. Just upload the track as it is. Perfect. Extending the
it didn't need more than that.
Yeah. Just extended the bass opening.
That stretched out weird vocal is... I like it, but I'm on the fence a little bit. Like, what is it about that sample? Okay, so far we've established we like this. I'm ready for something different now, though. I feel like we should have had... I don't know. What do you think? Am I off base here?
I think this is just right.
You don't think it needs a change?
Nope. I mean, a pullback.
Yep, a pullback. Like, maybe that... All right, there's that droney thing. That could go... Just more the bass and the trippy, swirly stuff. You know what I mean? The droney thing in this section maybe could be cut out and like bring it out and bring it back slowly or in a subtle way. Contrast. I'm always a sucker for contrast.
Someone said ride in the chat. I disagree. If you turn in the ride,
it'll change
you lose the nuance of the reverb in the highs. It will overpower everything else.
So what a compromise would be like that little splash that just happened, an occasional, like a thin crash or a thin ride that just kind of splashes every now and then rather than a constant one.
That's a different thing, yeah. That's an accent.
And another idea, there's no short, thin hi-hats in this. Like a little like tick every now and then might be interesting.
The only two things I would suggest here. One is a little bit more work on the EQ of all the bassy elements so that they don't collide. Just a little bit. It's there, but like give it a rest for a week and then try again, and it should be fine. And then the second thing is
that was nice.
A few, yeah, exactly, perfect drop.
I gotta use my left hand so I don't cover your face.
Feel free to do so. The one round of things, I don't know how many bars before the drop, before the second break, I would pull everything back.
Yeah, I agree.
I would pull everything back. Just stay with the kick, stay with the initial sounds that you have in the first 10 seconds of the track, and literally give yourself room to build up again in the second breakdown. Other than that, this is perfect. It's a perfect techno tool. It's very, very groovy. I love the sounds. I love the arrangement. It's so good.
I have a question. Would you call it melodic techno?
No.
I it's tagged. There's a hashtag in the SoundCloud post, melodic techno. So
perfect.
It is. Well, I hope that this is totally like ironic and sarcastic. That's what I hope. Because it's so I like it. I'm not a huge melodic techno fan, and not that I dislike it. I like this better. And yeah, I think this guy has some potential. It's pretty good. Nice. All right, and you could tell Lag was into it because he's getting excited and talking louder. Let's move on to the next one. We have I recognize this name from the chat. Ketterbosch. Reputition. Is that what does that mean? Can you say in the chat what's the definition of reputition? Slightly Goa-y kick drum going on there. That's not a diss. It's got that zap, like a little bit of that sharp, zappy transient going on.
Yep.
Clean mix, right? Nice space. Good reverb again, I think, right?
Mm-hmm. Again, I would like to hear more groove. I would like to hear it like this clap just late by 5 to 10 milliseconds, just as something's off.
I like the groove better without the snare. And I like the acid line is cool. It's a little bit late, and that creates a groove too. It's kind of a little laid back.
Yep.
And so like the drums could follow that, maybe.
Yep, exactly.
It's got a weird swing. I like that.
Yeah, the accents are prominent, and it's a little bit late, which makes it perfect for what it should be. It's
not a typical acid line. I think that's good. And it's not a 303. It's some other sounding like an acid line.
Yeah.
Which nowadays I kind of like a lot more because I love the 303, the original, or the clones. I use them all the time, but man, we hear that sound a lot.
Yeah. I had an idea to make an EP and just call all 4 tracks Acid Dreams, Acid Warehouse, Future Acid, and then not have a single 303 sound in any of them, or any acid sounds.
No, yeah.
Just to sell the record as a joke.
I was just gonna say, I was missing a bass line in this song and this track, and a bass line came in. So finally, it's making it more. It's
nice pullback.
More trancey now, yeah. I would have done that sooner, maybe. Ketterbosch says that this acid line is a Donner B1. That's like that really inexpensive monosynth, right?
Clone. Yeah. It is a 303 clone.
But it doesn't really. You can tell it's not a very accurate clone.
Nice. Now we see other elements coming back in.
I need to hand dance to this.
This is very good. It's very good. Again, one single thing I would do about this is maybe a bit more bus compression to push everything a little bit more forward. But you can get that for mastering as well.
Yeah.
It's really, really good.
Okay.
Perfect.
I agree generally. Let's stop there. I want a
Perfect.
little more low end energy though. A little bit more. I mean, okay, it's a style thing too. It's mid-rangey, these acid tracks, but a little more sub. Just a touch. A little more rumble. What do you think?
Sure. But again, I would very much also enjoy. So as I'm always thinking about how I DJ. So this is why I always make like a distinction between an objective advice or subjective. Subjectively, this is great for me because what is the most melodic about this track is the acid line and the high bass.
Yeah.
And I like that they are so prominent, and I like the fact that I actually like the fact that it doesn't have so much bass, because I can play this in between two bassy tracks and not lose energy.
And that's a really important thing to talk about with techno, is that you want to, think of the DJs who might play it and how they play. Right?
Yep.
And you're absolutely right that this will fit in with other records better because it's not super rumbly. So that's a good observation.
Yeah.
I like that.
This would be a great. It reminds me in its structure of Tim Taylor and Damon Wild,
or DJ Mischa, maybe, if it had some snare drum buildup in it.
Yeah. Do you know the track "Bang That Acid"?
Of course.
Yeah. It reminds me of this. It's more prominent. If anything, I would add more highs to the cymbals.
Okay. Well, that could be mastered too, because the balance is pretty good. All right, let's check out the next one. I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce this, but I'm just going to guess it's Solvik or Solvich, and it's Untitled 0111. Does that mean that you've made 110 other Untitled tracks before this? I would be really impressed. I'm still going to be impressed. This is the one that we danced to in the Instagram post.
Yeah, this is very good. This is so good. Like the synth in
we
this
already
one
know. We already know this one.
As it is, the synth line as it is already sound porn, and this is, I could just play this, the kick, this as a layer on top of one other track. This would be enough.
Let's let the people hear it, because we've already heard it.
Such a nice resonance on the bass line.
See, now it's interesting. What I was just talking about before, I felt that track, I wanted a little more subbiness in it. This one is not a very subby track, and I don't feel that about it. It's different. It's the balance of things, and it has that kind of resonant low. I like that. I know when you play this in a big room, it's going to sound way deeper than it does in my headphones right now. I know that. It's going to ring the room out without being muddy. Always got to have a cat on the stream. That's the real reason I keep inviting Lag back, is so we can have a cat.
Of course. And this is my only investment. The only reason for this investment, I see it as a business investment. Moko, I used to get the additional 2 viewers in my stream.
It's raking in the dollars just because of that cat, right? Totally pays for itself, right?
Yes.
All right, so I like this. It's not breaking any rules or doing anything crazy new, but what it's doing perfectly, pretty much. I think this is
exactly.
This is, release level. Put this out. I would play this.
I love these the cymbals. They
Panning
completely
delays.
break out the because everything else is just like this short phrase, right? The kick is 1 quarter note long.
Okay.
The phrase. The hi-hat is the open hi-hat is 1 quarter note long. The bass
I'm gonna
line
jump
is,
into this sort of breaky part in the middle. It's not really a break because the kick drum doesn't ever totally go away. But what does he do? Like the kick drum's still there, but
it's high pass.
yeah, it's
Perfect.
just high pass. It's so easy.
Perfect.
It's like what you would do in a live set. I bet you this was, I don't know how perfect, it might have been sequenced, but this could have been done live. Maybe. Great. It doesn't need to have more than this. This type of track. What?
The additional chord, I was just thinking I could do with like one more thing here.
And it's
And the additional chord just came in.
and it's so subtle.
I
And it's
had like
polymetric.
I had like a Juno string in my head because there was like this period in time of around 2002 to 2004 where every track had a Juno string just to build up. And this felt like the right thing, but this is better. I think this is even better.
All right, this is good.
Perfect. Yeah. No.
You're done. Next.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, that went well. All right, just next time we do this, like, yeah, we got to remember to like start with doing it real time from the beginning, so we don't waste like a half an hour with 2 tracks. But that was still okay because it was a warm up. It got us going. It got us into the groove.
Sure.
Got us
Sure.
thinking. Got the viewers thinking. All right, next, another regular in the chat. Who's here today? Asatenko. This is Screamer. I'm starting to get hoarse now. Excuse me. I'm talking too much.
You talking about ketamine? Or your voice is getting hoarse? I heard hoarse. I'm getting hoarse now.
I like this. And making us wait. This would be a good intro record. Assuming that what happens next is really awesome, this is it sounds like a really good intro, like set starter. It's great tension. It's making me have a spasm. You better pay off. Reasonable. Not too much, right?
Very reasonable, yeah.
It's like energetic, but it's kind of just slid right in there. That was good.
So the first thing that I would say I would like to hear a little bit more of punch shaping compression on the kick, because the kick and the rumble, they're really
transient.
good. Yes, a bit more transient coming through, a little bit punchier kick. But the synergy between the kick and the rumble is really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
It's people don't really realize how difficult it is to pull off, and especially in this scenario where it's so dominant and in your face, because sometimes you can hide it behind all the stuff in the mid-range.
I agree. Nice so far.
This clap is gonna make so many people on the right side of the room happy.
All right, so this is the first. All right, we've been real positive so far. Put the clap in the middle. I also felt like I wanted a little more high-end energy to contrast here, like either a splat, something like that. That could have come in sooner, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, the hi-hat is nice, but consider whenever you're doing stuff that has sounds which are this low pitched, meaning like the main synth is super low octave, the kick and the rumble are super subby. Consider going for a hi-hat which is not this high. Again, like lower shaker energy. Think like Bank Clock Sub-Zero.
Yeah. That's a good example.
Yeah, So the hi-hat, it's still bright, you still have a lot of highs, but the octave of the sound is low to complement everything else being...
Yeah, this is a lot of like 8,000 to 10,000. We want a little more like 6,000, like a little more sharp, right? Am I right with this frequency range, sort of?
Yeah. Not so much here.
Think of like a closed 909 hi-hat has that frequency range a little more.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not as bright and thin.
Yeah. Warmer.
Energy-wise, though, like the development of this track, the arrangement of this track is moving right along in a good way. It's so wide. I wonder how this is going to collapse down to mono. I don't have an easy way to do that right now.
I actually have. Wait.
Yeah, let us know how it sounds in mono.
I'm gonna do it.
Everybody at home, if you got a mono switch, hit it.
You can barely hear the clap behind this main synth.
Okay.
And then that's the only issue.
So it collapses down. Well, you know, there's not too much phase cancellation then. That's great.
Yeah. There's not.
All right, good one. I like it.
So the structure of it is very good.
Yeah.
The arrangement of it is very good. Like the we just heard like a pullback. So there's a lot of potential here. I would just like to hear the clap and the highs have the consistent energy of the rest of the sounds, meaning the mix down. So, for example, this whole thing that I just described with Ben Clock, this was a sound that came in mid 2000s when a certain drug became the main drug of clubbing due to various reasons, and everything had to slow down. So what people would do, they would take old techno tracks and then play them at -6, -8 on turntables, which pitches everything down.
Yeah.
So the kicks become more subby, but also the highs become more low-pitched and warm rather than bright and sharp. And in this example, you sort of imitated that super low sound of the late 2000s, early 2010s, but then the highs and the clap are too thin and too high and sharp compared to the softness and the warmth and the heaviness of the kick. That's the only suggestion I would comment I would give. Just make those a little bit more consistent.
Mm-hmm. Cool. You're on point there. Let's check out the next one, and it's let's see, it's 220. Sorry, I just spaced out for a second. I'm like, what do I say? I was looking at the chat to see if if I found anything interesting, and yeah, people are saying some nice stuff to each other. So again, thank you, nice people in the community. Let's check out Baryonic by Itzek.
I like it from the get-go.
Yeah.
The little bassy stabs. Not bassy, just
it's got this
lower
kind
mids.
of wet waka 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 thing.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
That's loud. I'm gonna turn it down a bit. Is it loud?
It's fine for me.
Okay. I won't turn it down then. I think these hi-hats are a little bit more like what you were thinking, right?
Exactly. I was just going to say that. And also the percussion, which is pan left, this is one of these super overlooked things. Like, this is perfect here, but I just wanted to make a comment on it, which is whenever going for a big sound, like for example here, the kick is distorted, so it's sort of trying to sound big. A good idea, a general rule of thumb is to have a sound which is much smaller, so that you have a reference point, so that the big can sound big, because it has something to be compared to.
Good advice. It's kind of like if you want your mix to sound super wide, you need to have something very mono to contrast with the wide stuff.
Yep, exactly. Wow, these are
right?
so good.
I'm scared now. I'm zooming in on this thing. That's our visual for this track.
Yeah. The image for on SoundCloud is very fitting.
It's a little bit bad trip, but in a cool way. It's hooky. It's like weird and dark and scary, but it's also a good hook. And now, oh, it's more repeating faster now. Good move. I kind of wanted it to keep getting brighter there. Like it retreated too fast. What do you think? It could kind of work either way. Maybe it comes back full later.
I think this is one of these tracks where we would have to listen to it in its entirety to get it. It's such a fine line now with these sounds. Like, how much is too many? When is the right time to pull back?
Wait.
Yeah.
Things are changing. Right. This is either going to make or break it.
I'm not sure about the pitch bend, the LFO and the pitch.
I'm sorry, I have to stop there. That's a divisive drop. That is you either love it, oh my God, it's taking over my brain, or too much.
I think the track switched midway from being like Berlin burner to big room drum code kind of thing.
I see what you're saying. This is the stylistic divide here, and it's kind of. Yeah.
I'm not against either of these. I'm just thinking of how you could make it more of a drum code thing earlier,
or not
more
do that,
or make it a consistently Berlin kind of thing later.
It's like kind of more low key and tracky versus everybody put your hands in the air, right? There's,
Yeah.
So it's a stylistic choice that you're going to have to make. You're going to have to decide, but it's going to, I feel like it needs to be one or the other maybe. It's really hard to be both, but if you can make it both, if you could make this something that would be played at Berghain and at Tomorrowland, you win. That's a challenge.
Yeah. I wanted to make one more comment, which is like when you start doing the pitch bend thing on the, I don't know if it's like a delayed aux send return or whatever it is that starts pitch bending. The thing with the pitch bend is like all of these.
Sorry, I'm going to keep talking. We cut him off in the middle, so I'm just going to let him play in the background while you talk.
All of these synths are super organic. So when this thing starts happening up and down, it completely changes the nature of the synth into
I liked
something
it straight. I liked it more.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I can see the need for making it crazier. So what I would suggest is using a plugin which simulates tape drifting.
That would be great.
So
you could also add voices to it, like unison voices, make it more detuned within itself.
Yes. The thing with tape drifting is it's unpredictable. It doesn't have like a curve, so it just goes into pitch bending in a way that sounds a little bit sick, like Boards of Canada tunes, and that's something that I absolutely love using. So if you want something a little bit more subtle, go for the Super VHS Baby Audio plugin. It has a drift control, and it can do really nice drifting. But there are plugins out there that can do a more extreme version of it if you really want it to be heard. So yeah, that's the only two comments. I think this has a lot of potential. I think you just need to make up your mind what kind of track it is and then adjust to that. But before you do that, just make sure to take a rest, because you might be tunnel vision right now and tired from the track. So make sure to get some rest and then make a decision on what you want it to be.
More good advice from the man himself. My guest today. He's lag. And thankfully, he's not lagging today.
Yes. Thankfully.
Thankfully, no lag.
This was a fun setup. Every time we meet, I just pray that everything goes wrong so that I can spend more time with you.
Aw, what a sweetheart. I'm going to cry again. Oh, my God. Why do I act like this in public? Why? Why do I do this? So, all right, it's almost 30 minutes like we were talking about. It's 2:28, and we have 4 more. I think we should just finish it.
Sure.
Okay.
Let's do it.
So we have Hathor, who is here, I believe. Distorted Tool A1 and Distorted Tool A2. Which one should we pick? 1 or 2? I guess 1. Let's just go with 1, right? You put your best foot forward on the A side, right? Or the A1 is the track that you think is going to sell the record. So let's do that one.
Sure.
Cool. Come on, Dropbox, let's hit it.
Very nice.
Right away.
Very nice. I love the groove of this one.
Apparently we like Detroit-y rap hood minimal techno grooves, apparently.
Yeah, we're old.
Doing that sway thing again.
This reminds me of something. This reminds me of 65D Mavericks track.
It's fast too, in a good way. It's fast,
Yeah,
but not too
yeah,
fast.
Yeah.
When you can be fast and still make me sway, you're good. You're on the right track. All right, you hear the subtle changes to the synth. That's the kind of I talked about that a few tracks ago, like having the synth evolve a little more. This is doing that.
Yeah.
And in a subtle way, not in a I'm all of a sudden very different kind of a way. Just enough kind of a way.
The thing with this track is that it has a lot of elements which perceivably talk to each other. There's a question and reply sort of thing going on. So it's not like, okay, there's a hi-hat here. It's rather, oh wait, this hi-hat is talking to a different sound. So
I love that.
This is a very well put together loop. And when the loop is well put together, you have to do minimal work.
There's that new element that we wanted in the background. You hear it?
Yeah.
Nice little reverses on the percussion there.
What I would like to hear is at some point for this main synth to be low passed and then slowly opened. But this is just my preference. It could completely do without this.
Yeah, it could be, but that's another opportunity to create contrast, which is always. I say that over and over again to people.
Yeah. But contrast creates life.
I'm going to jump to a break.
So, yeah, exactly. I think there's if you kill the main synth at some point, even the drum section on its own is good enough to keep carrying the water. But if you leave the second synth in, it's perfect. You give the listener a rest from the main synth, and then when it comes back, you get them to appreciate it, to welcome it back.
Yeah, of course.
And you leave more room for the second synth, which is slightly overshadowed by the main synth, to shine through and to become very, very audible and visible. So that would be my one and only suggestion. It's not even like advice. It's just try this, see if you like it. There's a track by Robert Hood. Let me just quickly find what the name of it is.
Yeah, well, while you're looking for that, I just put a comment up that I liked. Someone, Flakes, is that how I pronounce it? Says, sounds like Starak and Green Velvet had a baby. You have to know what those producers sound like, of course, but some of you do, right?
So I'm gonna drop the link to the track that I'm talking about in the YouTube chat, and this is by Robert Hood. It's under the moniker Division. Explain the style. He has 3 sort of synth lines in this track, and he uses the filtering or muting the tracks to open up the whole thing and close down. Like they are interchangeable.
Yeah.
So just for inspiration.
Good
Okay,
one.
next track.
Next track. Kind of hypnotizing me.
Oh, lovely vocal. If that's a vocal.
The vocal sample?
It's like a guitar or a vocal or something. Yeah, guitar.
Or some kind of
Middle
Middle Eastern stringed instrument.
Yeah,
South Asian
string
stringed instrument. Well, there was something formant-like about it when it was lower, and the filter was lower.
Perfect. It adds so much to the groove, the fact that it's a sample.
So I have a question for you. The fundamental of the kick drum is out of tune with the music. Yay or nay? Like where you stand on. Do you care? Does it matter? And
I don't actually hear it here. I don't hear the
because there's
if
a
it's
rumble.
out of tune
like,
or not.
It is. It's like almost like a half step. And if I guarantee you, if it were tuned up to be in exact key with the music, it would sound more trancey, more typical trance. And the fact that it's detuned and lower and a little wobbly makes it feel more techno, even though it's still kind of trancey. Do you know what I mean? It's got this this is definitely an example of how like detuned inharmonic elements sound more techno sometimes.
There's a friend of mine who I greatly respect music-wise. He stopped doing music and he became like a very successful doctor and stuff like this. And we just met recently.
Here's the hook.
This I'm not sure about. This is an acquired taste.
It's a genre style choice, right?
Yeah.
I kind of like it better as a loop.
Me too, but I also like this return to the. Maybe if there were a bit more effects on the on the thing, that would sort of
granularize
synthesize it. Yeah, granularize
Make it go into space. Make it more futuristic sounding, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, my friend said, like, we were listening to some music and he just looked at me and said, not deranged enough. And that stuck with me.
Different break.
That's a very nice way to describe good techno. It's deranged enough.
See, now I'm going to go back to this. I would have liked it if it did, instead of it doing this, if it did this, but bigger and more synthy. Also,
that is perfect.
But it's also, there's a tuning issue here, or a scale issue here. The synth is in tune with the kick drum, but not the sitar. And this sounds more techno. All right. doesn't it? It sounds more tracky techno now.
Can you skip to a later part where the sitar is going to be in?
It's about to come back, I think. Or maybe this is how it ends. Yeah, the sitar doesn't come back. It's just this. This is like kind of 2 tracks in one, I would say.
Yeah.
It's good. It's a little like, where am I going? Right? Stylistically.
Yeah.
Like, is it is it techno? Is it a little bit more trancey or progressive? Is it more melodic, or is it more you know what I mean? So
I really like the sitar. I really like the organic element, and I like the fact that like the drums and everything are very driving.
Yeah.
And then this has a very laid back kind of swaying.
Right. It's got, even though it's laid back and not fast, it has energy. It has power. So that's a win.
Exactly.
Cool.
Exactly.
All right. I just still think arrangement wise, like, not that there's never been tracks that started one way and then changed directions and ended another. I mean, like Jeff Mills does that. Rob Hood does that, where it's like 2 tracks in one, you know? It's hard to pull off though. So you might think about that. Like maybe either integrate those parts better or make 2 different versions of it. And one has just mostly sitar and the other one has mostly synth, right? And they could be like edits or remixes of each other. All right. We got 2 more that I have open here. We're getting there. I can't believe it. False Flag from Caspier Burns. Let's check it out. Right away. Yeah, banging right from the start.
That said, this kind of kick, make sure to test it in a club.
Yeah, it could be muddy. It's very bassy right now.
Yeah, could be lacking definition and punch. It could be just one slab of bass instead of a punch.
Today on Does It Knock? There's a little knock in there. So this is good. Well, while this is going, I had this kind of fun idea, and maybe I'll actually try to make it happen one of these days when we do feedback. Is because you can't see it, but in the other room there's a classroom, and it's in an event space with a PA system. There's a subwoofer, and I had this idea that we could get a little crew of friends to come and hang out and like pretend it's a party and play people's music as if it were at a dance party with the bass booming. In the other room, we'll have a camera on them, and when we do the feedback, we'll cut over to the other camera to see how they're responding. Like, we won't say anything to them. We won't prepare them. We won't say, oh, we want you to look happier, dance or whatever. Just put the music on and see if people are responding to it, like hidden camera style, while we give people feedback. Like, are people dancing to your groove live? What do you think? Would that be fun?
That sounds like a high investment, high reward kind of thing.
I don't know. I was saying at the top of the show, I'm hoping, we could come up with some ideas and kind of up our game and produce some new types of content.
Sounds great.
Yeah. Anyway, let's put our focus back onto the track.
And for a donation, you could choose the next track, which is not like a submission, but just like a Britney
interactive
Spears
chat,
remix.
stuff like that. Oh my God. All right, listen, this is cool. I'm going to go back a little bit because we were talking so much. Let's hear this transition. It's heavy, but it's giving me some kind of glitchy, minimal days kind of vibe with the little things cutting in and out, right?
I actually quite like that. I mean, he's doing that in a...
Wait, listen.
Or
I like this. It's funny. It's got a kind of fun energy. I think that stuff needs to come out more. I think like the bass is taken over. Like I agree. I would more mids, more highs, more. These are like lead elements. Like they're talking to you. There's like some robot like chattering in your ear. Bring that out a little bit.
What? This is a different track now, though.
Now it became kind of trancey, right? Like psytrance a little bit.
Yeah, this is a completely different track now.
Funny how one little element changes the whole vibe. It's the bass line and that little lasery do-do-do-do-do thing.
Yeah, it's the bass line and the uplifting, the phaser. For me, it's this.
It's interesting. Like, I'm just gonna pause for a second. Like, we're reacting off of basically what was the intro, and we're like vibing on the intro, and then the actual track, the full part of the track starts, and we're like, huh. So, I want to be sure, like, just to stay on the constructive, positive side, that is a stylistic choice that I think we both were like, not our style, but it's good. It's good.
Oh, it wasn't that I wasn't reacting this way because I don't like this. I was reacting this way because it's 2 tracks in one.
I see.
And that's always difficult for me as DJ to play and pull off, especially if I'm layering things. It's too much of a jump that I as a DJ want to be making between tracks and not for the tracks to be making for me.
Got it. Another DJ might be different. Like a DJ that like only mixes at intros and outros.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what else we do. That's good that it opens up and it's just the bass and some trippy stuff. I like that.
Yeah. The pullback.
I like it better without the bass and synth that comes in. I like it when it's more drums and weird noises, honestly.
Me too. That said, if the thing that we both liked didn't happen at the beginning, I think
I see what you're saying.
It's more of a consistent track, and then everything's fine.
So, all right, you might be able to split this into do 2 versions. One that's more like the stuff that we were pointing out, and then another one that's more highlighting. I would maybe simplify it, like get rid of some of the glitchy, funky stuff and make it more focused on that synth and the bass that comes in, right? And then you've got 2 tracks, or a remix and a track, or a track and a remix,
or a dub version.
A dub version, yeah. Make more out of less is what we're saying. Okay. Wow, I can't believe it. It's 2:45, or actually we've got 1 left, and I think we're gonna just about wrap. It's time to wrap this up. In bonus time, in extended play.
Let's do it.
Do we say, is it wiser or easer? I don't. Sorry, pronunciation. We might need some phonetic in the chat there, but focalin, interesting, focalin or focalin, doesn't matter. Uh-huh.
I really like it when, like, from the first second I know what key the track is in, sort of, if it's gonna fit the rest of what I'm doing.
I was worried about the bass for a second, but then I'm like, okay, you just had the kick high past. Back into trancey, acidy techno mode, I think.
So, with this track, it's one of these cases which I personally would have. The kick is very big, and it sounds great as it is, but then the rest of the stuff sounds thin compared to the kick. So I would spend some time adding just a tad more tape saturation or tube saturation, stuff like this, just
Thicker.
to make it a bit more thick and consistent in sound. Yeah.
Right. I think we get the melodic elements coming in now.
Same with this melodic element.
Like a little too thin?
I would like to hear more lower mids. More high bass from the snare.
Yeah, I think, a lot of this track has got good energy. It's solid, but the mix, working on the mix and, filling it out, a different balance would help a lot. That said, maybe it'll sound amazing on the right system. You never know. going back to what you said, you've got to try these tracks out in a space where you know how it's going to ring, how the room's going to vibrate or not. Let's jump in a little bit. Old school reverse edits, we like that. Back in the day when you had to splice the reel-to-reel tape and flip the tape in the opposite direction.
I do not remember those days, and I'm so happy I don't.
Yeah, it's a lot easier now. All right, let's give him a chance. We'll get the full effect of the break and the build here.
I wish there was something happening with the melody.
Yeah, it's a little monotonous. A little. Now, it's funny when you talk about techno as being monotonous. I'm like, it's all monotonous. It's all repetitive. And like the tracks we were listening to before that we liked that had the more kind of old school Detroity Rob Hood kind of Steve Rockmod kind of flow, right? Those are so repetitive, but there's these subtle details, right? This synth just keeps going without changing.
There is a difference between on one extreme end would be what I call enough music, which is adding enough stuff and playing enough notes to call it okay, this is a track. And then on the other side of the spectrum is something that is so such a statement that it cannot be denied that this is something very, very special. So what we're trying to aim for is something that's difficult to describe what it actually is, but it is supposed to be a statement. So sometimes it's enough for the sound, one synth, to be a statement because it works so well with other stuff. Like Sleep Archive track is usually very good. He's very good with that kind of stuff. Steph Mendesidis, he's very good with statements. Just from the get-go, the groove and everything works really well. Sometimes the track, like the melody itself, is not a statement enough. It's a great foundation, but then you have to do things with it for it to become a statement, or to change the timing around, or to change the notes so that the stuff that happens between that melody and the bass line, for example, actually does something. I would urge everyone to play a track. I'm just gonna leave this. This is not techno at all. This is Balthazar.
Are these links actually coming through in the chat? Because I don't know if
no. I'm just gonna type in the name. So Wrong Faces. So this is sort of this is just a band from Belgium that play alternative whatever, and every sound in this track, like the drums have a clear groove. They function so well with other sounds. The vocal, especially in the beginning, there's like a little thing where the rhythmicity of what he's saying is playing off of the rhythmicity of the drums, and then the bridge is great, the chorus is amazing, and then after the chorus you get something bonus. So everything sort of flows perfectly, and it's zero fat. Whatever you take away from that track, the track is going to be much poorer for it. So I think this is what we are after, something that will make us understand the message, whatever that message is. And sometimes you need more, sometimes you need less. You need different tools to get this message across. In this particular case, I feel like the message would be told by the synth either changing or being changed. So yeah, I'll stop now.
Yeah, that's good. I'm letting you just go on a rant. Okay. So it is Almost 3 o'clock. It's 2:53. What I'm going to say, and I saw that there are some more posts here, and I know I said I was going to stop here, but let's just throw out one more. I know there's a couple of tracks here from Silver Knobs. Silver Knobs is a regular, so I'm gonna give him this one, even though he came in late. Now you submitted 2, so I'm gonna go with not the one that says minimal techno on it. I'm gonna go with the one that says doesn't say it's minimal, and we'll do just this is our last one for today. All right, I think I can just play it here from Discord.
Nice. So these, like the synths and the conga playing off of each other is exactly what I was talking about. The two of them have a synergy, and
it might
I'm
be a
already
synth,
happy.
or it might be like melodic percussion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I like it. The bass is kind of boomy. I like the groove.
Yeah. The bass is too dominant compared to everything else.
Nice, hypnotizing. It's growing slowly. Sounds like a track that you've got to listen to already. It sounds like something you have to listen to the whole thing to really get it. Thinking about the bass and the kick and how they fit together. In the chat, Absent, who's a very good producer, he thinks the kick should be more like a 909, like a little more punchy, rather than a deep 808. What do you think?
It could work, yeah. With this kind of bass line, which is super low and bassy,
like
a higher 909 punchier might work. I love these the new pitch bend sounds that came in. Again, they are playing really well off of the starting sounds. I wish some of these sounds were off the grid though, for more groove.
You like your crazy grooves.
Yep.
I know you do.
Yep.
Because it has this kind of techno has an organic vibe.
Yep.
All of these melodic percussion sounds, it's kind of like acoustic like percussion sounds.
Ooh.
And now we got Rob Hood again as a inspiration. I think we're and Jeff Mills and that whole line of Detroit techno that a lot of us really are informed by and really love so much. I like this.
Yeah.
That was a nice surprise.
I wish there was like a small break before it, just to announce it. Sometimes there's
the DJ
beauty.
could do that if he knows it's coming.
Yes, the DJ can. But there's sometimes there's beauty in these moments where you sort of.
There's another element coming in now.
Yeah.
I'm worried that it's going to get a little too busy, but then look, right then he took out the other one. Like now they're trading places. This sounds like a live jam. This sounds like he's bringing stuff in and out on the mixer kind of deal. And it's got this kind of definitely pure. Is it hardware production, Silver Knobs? This sounds like hardware machines doing their thing rather than plugins. I like the other part better, but this is still good. I feel like I'm ready for the other thing to come back already. Let's see how soon it does. Oh, it's another thing, a new thing.
Oh no, this was in before.
Oh.
That's the pitch bend
I thought it was
thing
lower
that I mentioned.
though.
No.
I thought it was a different pitch. Silverknob says this is Korg EMX.
The Korg EMX is such a nice. I'm a moron for not. I have it.
You have it?
I
You
don't know.
use it?
Yeah. I have both the ESX and the EMX. You can make 20 albums just off of those two.
All right. So we had kind of a good arc, right? We started out chill and taking our time listening to tracks and being very thoughtful and espousing with our opinions. And then we really ramped it up and got crazy and went through these tracks really fast. And now we're settling back down again, right? We're like, this is a good way to let go. We're almost at the end. Let's just let it play and we'll hang out for the last couple of minutes.
Sure.
And reflect. I gotta say, overall, like, quality level from everybody, you know, for the most part, you guys are working at a high level. I really appreciate that you are all sharing your music with us here. And conversely, we are happy to share our opinions with you, and we're glad that you don't mind us doing it. So, yeah, if you're into it, we're into it. And we'll do more of these. I've done 2 so far. We did the electro one, now we do a techno one. Now I got to do it. It's always back and forth with electro and techno. I love it all. So next time we'll do electro. I'm still securing a guest. Throw out some names of some producers you'd love to, or artists, producers and artists you would love to see as guests. Techno or electro. Throw them here in the chat. Let us know who you want to see. I've done this before, but you know, maybe someone will pop up that I'm like, I know that guy. I can call him. And I just want to say thanks again very much to Lag, the commissar.
Always.
Really glad to have you. It's been fun hanging out from our initial meetings to doing the show, and it's been a blast. Thank you again.
Very happy to do this. Whenever, especially for you and especially for this community. So many friendly people here. I'm jelly. I'm a little bit jelly.
Come on, but you got your own thing going on. So all of you here should go on Twitch and Facebook and follow. You still do Facebook or just Twitch?
I still do Facebook, but it's. I have to be honest. I've been slacking since a month ago, but I had a lot of gigs.
Yeah.
But now I will not have a lot of gigs, so
you'll do some
will be
streams
streaming
again.
a bit more. Yeah.
You guys,
Commissar Lag. It's Commissar Lag. Wait,
2 M's, 2 S's.
Yeah, Twitch TV / Commissar Lag. I hope this is right.
Yeah, all of you should follow him. Absolutely.
Yeah, there's some people here who are on my stream as well. Hello. Thank you for joining in, and it's so nice to see these people hungry for knowledge and just everywhere.
Yeah, man.
And very productive as well.
Totally. So, wow, it was fun. I usually cut it off a lot earlier. I liked, especially for the feedback. It makes sense to stretch it out and you know, do a couple of hours. Then we can really get a bunch of people in and get a bunch of different perspectives on different music and hear more of a variety of everybody. And as I said, like, there's still a couple we didn't hear in the channel on the 343 Labs Discord server. I'm starting to feel my my energy's kind of going down a little bit, and my voice is getting a little bit worn out now. So definitely this was the time to stop. So thanks everybody so much again for hanging out with us, for all your great submissions. Stay in touch with each other. You know, you all are on if you're on the Discord, I saw you were already giving each other feedback, and think about checking out 343 Labs, 343 Studio especially. I know a lot of you are international. So that's a really easy way to like do what we're doing here on a more one-to-one basis, and everything I mentioned before, right? The content that we have for free and paid with the subscription. And of course we have our long courses. It's in sound design, Ableton Live, general music production with Ableton Live or Logic, special workshops every now and then. I would love to have Lag come on and do like a master class or a one-off workshop producing in Reason. I was asking about whether we could do a full course. It's still sort of up in the air on whether there's demand for that, but for sure, like a one-off masterclass or workshop or whatever you want to call it with Lag, I would love to see that. So I'm saying it into the universe so that hopefully it will happen. That's
fingers
why
crossed.
I'm saying
I would love to
Cross
do
your
that.
fingers. And then that's it for today. Thanks again, everybody. see you next week. Adios.
Thank you.